morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Look at me being an amateur. Welcome to the morning hour of Hip Politics. It's your boy, Mr. Cameron Calvin. Your favorites. I need to come up with some new AKs, but I just wanted to tap in because we wanted to jump right into. I don't know. Whoops, that's not the show. That is this show. I, as many of you know, I am a former senior advisor at the White House. I was the director of digital engagement, and under the Biden administration, over a decade plus in Capitol Hill, I've run. I've run and been communications director, digital director, paid media, senior advisor to a ton of local to all the way to presidential campaigns over the last 20 years. And 2026, if you are paying attention, is going to be the year of really starting to kind of, as they say, separating the wheat from the chaff in terms of presidential elections. Like, this is the year you're going to know exactly who's running for president and as they start to build out their name. Like, very, very rarely. Like, I want to walk you through the timeline. Um, and walk you through kind of the timeline of here. So I'm going to do a two-part series. I'm going to start off with the Democratic Party here, and just give a little talk and some description and a little bit of discussion with you about my insider view of who I think are some of the top Democrats who are definitely going to run for president. Some of their pros and cons, what you think about them. Definitely want to hear your feedback. But just, I really thought it's a great opportunity to go live and talk through what I know is about to be a major, major, major point throughout the year as people continue to look. Because if you look outside, you see what the Trump administration is doing. People are trying to get a head start. There's going to be so much to do, and this is their first big test. 2026, the elections this year, everyone in the House of Representatives is up. That's how it works every 2 years. A third of the Senate is up. There's a chance for Democrats to take back the House. Chance for Democrats to, long shot, but chance for Democrats to get the majority in the Senate, hopefully provide some checks and balances in the government. And I wanted to see, like, I wanted to just kind of talk through some of who I think some of the top candidates are. What I think with you as a viewer, as a person who's trying to understand what they should be looking for, if you ever get to run across any of these people, what kind of questions you could be asking them, some of their pros and cons. I've been able to work next to a few of them and see them up close and personal. So hoping to run through a little bit of that. So let's kick it off. I mean, there's a ton of data right now. First and foremost, if somebody tells you or you read a poll about who's winning, don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. Any kind of polls. Okay, here we go. Any kind of poll that claims to know. Oh, my bad, guys. I'm still doing this. Okay, I got the little automatic tracker. Sorry, thanks. That comes with the live stream. But I'll say this: any kind of poll that you do see, don't really believe it right now, because it is way too early to predict who's going to be winning, who's going to be running. It's just way too early. Like, this right now is people really trying to position themselves. I think they are trying to, like, this is a great article. If you can, I'll make sure the link to this article is in the description after the live stream. But this article really, if by Politico, talking about the 2028 began and who's really running. So I wanted to run through the I was going to say top 8 Democrats, but just some of the top Democrats that I think are running and what you should be looking for. So let's go to right here. because I'm of the belief that I'm of belief that even though most people think there is one main candidate, and that would be Gavin Newsom. I'm of the belief that we don't know if Gavin Newsom's going to run. I think he's going to run because his term as governor is over. I'm not sure he knows what else he can do politically. There's not much. There's not much you can do outside of being the governor of California, because being the governor of California, California is our largest state in the union, largest economy in America. If it was a country, I believe it'd be like a top 5 GDP nation or top 10 GDP nation. So California is a behemoth in and of itself. He's been the governor. He's run that state. It has been reelected. So now, once he moves away from that race, most people you'll see like, all right, well, what's the next step in political office? I don't really see him going and running for U.S. Senate, because he wouldn't go for the House of Representatives. That would be a step down for him after already been a mayor. But I really do think he can be a strong president, and he's come out swinging. Let's opine a little bit about your boy Gavin Newsom, because Gavin, I'm sorry, let me put some respect on his name. Governor Newsom, and let me get you guys here. And sorry, this is me. This is a little bit of live stream. Notice I'm not a YouTuber. I'm a political operative, and so I am still working my YouTube. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do either. You guys seeing? I am still a political operative. Oh, that's probably why. I really think that Gavin Newsom, for all he's been doing, Gavin Newsom has really kept up the heat, and he's kept Democrats in the game. Let's look through this article. I want to look through this article here. So, Gavin Newsom, he's the attack dog. And that's what the article talks about, him really being the attack dog. If you've been paying attention to anything, he's been putting out AI videos. He's been putting out responses. He's confronted ICE earlier last year in terms of both in person and at events. He's a perfect example of your social media team, both as a political candidate and as a governor and elected official, working in tandem. Most people think like they don't realize the difference between. Let me make it a little bigger for you guys. They don't realize the difference between your social media team and your political team and your governance team. If you are a sitting elected official, whether you're a sitting member of Congress, a city councilman, a sitting mayor, or a sitting governor, you have the state or your jurisdiction, your city or whatever, gives you a budget so you can go hire people to govern. Part of governing is not actually being political. And by political, it means just because you're governing, they're not paying for you. They're not paying for you in this, because this is essentially taxpayer dollar. Taxpayer dollars should not be going for you to run your political race. Even though it kind of is, it's not officially doing that. So that means you have to have a political team. That's the money you raise for your elections and so forth. Because he's governor of California and he's been reelected, he has probably a really big war chest. So he hires top-notch people. He really has top-notch people. And that shows with what he's been doing. So he's been pairing up, and then he's been on the heavy circuit of all of the different social media. All of the different digital shows and shows also allowing his clips so much. Like, he is a master class on, if you give me a good budget and I'm willing to go out there and say stuff and say and match it up, my social media account can be just as aggressive as I am, or even more than I am online, but it all feels authentic. So I think he wins the race, and because he's breaking through to people and people feel like he's a fighter and he's fighting back, this is what makes him seem like the front runner. But I'll say this. I think being a governor of California, we haven't seen, I mean, Reagan did it. Reagan was able to, oh, man, sorry guys. Sorry. My tracking is playing games with me. Ronald Reagan was able to do this and become one of the most powerful presidents in modern history out of California. But I think we're just in different times. And I think he will have a perceived advantage, and sometimes perception becomes reality. But we're just a little over 2 years away from first actual votes being cast in South Carolina primaries and Iowa caucuses and New Hampshire primaries. So there's a lot of things that can happen until then. But I do think he's a strong debater. He's a strong presenter. I think he does have the little slick. He's really tall. Like, I'm 6'2". This dude got to be at least 6'4", 6'5". Like, he's really tall, commanding presence. Any debates and talks to both Republicans and Democrats, even though he will debate Republican leaders, but he also tries to come across, or he works on, what's the word I'm looking for? He still wants to keep an open. How do we put this? He still likes to keep an open mind, especially on his podcasts and some other places, to be able to talk to anybody across the aisle, which I think is a great quality. I think that's a great quality. But a lot of people get mad because he platformed Charlie Kirk. He platformed several Republicans on his podcast. But I think if you never talk to people, because we all got to live here together, how are you ever going to fix it? You literally don't have to agree with anything they say, but we're not going to fix anything. So that's your boy, Gavin Newsom. Now, he's people call him the shadow front runner. I don't know why they call her this, because this makes me upset. So I'm gonna skip past this when Kamala Harris. Let's go to something else with Kamala Harris. When they talk about Kamala Harris, so this is my former boss. I did it, so I will admit my bias. You know what I mean? I worked in the Biden-Harris White House, one of the biggest honors of my life. I got to see this woman up close and personal. Now, while I did work on the president's team and the White House team, so I wasn't with Vice President Harris every day or even often up close. We were able to work projects, able to see her up close and personal, able to see the people around her and how she was effective as a leader. And we both are Howard alum, so there's a family element there. But I think what she's been doing on her book tours is right on point. I'm glad she's not running for governor of California. I think she gets bogged down in the politics so much. And she, whether you know it or not, when you get to see her and be up close and personal, she is such a real regular person. She is very aware of her circumstances. She's very aware of the position she has, what she means to people, and how the narrative has torn her down. I'm not saying she's a perfect person. No one is. She will tell you that herself. But the narrative around her as a woman and as a strong black woman, I think, is what weighs on not just her, but her candidacy. And I am of the belief it is tough. But it is tough to be reelected if you have lost or run and unsuccessfully run multiple times. But you cannot tell her that's the case, because she ran with a president. Joe Biden has ran for president, 3-4 times before he won, and we helped him win. and he was the president for the right time in the right place. So I think Kamala Harris is building her coalition. I really think she's gonna the book tour and having this book tour and talking about 2024, as Democrats have decided to not talk about 2024. I think her building her coalition has been critical. I think her building her people power has been critical. I'd love to see her build and continue to grow her social media presence and do even more there. But I think all those things and pieces have really helped position her, and she understands how to raise money, how to raise donors. I think if she's really, as she's going to do, as somebody else we're going to talk about in this race, I really think she has an opportunity. She has an opportunity to really galvanize folks if she leans into black people. If she becomes the black candidate, guess what, people? 30 to 40% of the Democratic voting base is black. If she becomes the black candidate for black people, ooh. But there's a couple other black folks running, so you don't get to just be the black person and sew that up. We saw that in the 2020 race. But here's another guy I really like and got to meet and work with on a few different videos and a few different opportunities. Mayor, former Secretary Pete Buttigieg. When I say to me, he is the best, and I will repeat this, he is the best communicator in terms of articulate. He is the best communicator at the national level in the Democratic Party. He's the best one-on-one communicator in the Democratic Party. I say that, one-on-one communicator. How you, I'm sorry. My bad. I'm not sure what just happened. I'm gonna have to put my other camera up here in place because this is annoying every time because this thing is just so you know, this thing is hand activated, and so that is why when I move my hands sometimes okay, there we go. When I move my hands, it then turns into the camera will like start tracking and moving around and so forth. So, but anyways, back to Pete Buttigieg. If you watch his interviews, if you watch what he does in terms of when he does speak, he is a person who has the most intelligent, thoughtful interviews I think that exist right now. Hold up, let me figure out how to. Let me figure out what's going on. Oh, there we go. I just wanted to make sure I was in focus. If he will go on everything from the Breakfast Club to Fox News, talk directly, talk plainly, so you understand him in plain English, give insightful reasons as to why things are. So many things in transportation he did well. I know New Yorkers are a little annoyed at him because he also helped put in that transportation, that congestion tax, but he did so much in terms of regulations and trying to return money back to people from the airlines in terms of some of their fees and late fees. Really was integral in unlocking a lot of money that Trump then quickly shut off, but unlocking a lot of money in terms of trains and transportation, everything from the west to the southwest corridor and even in the Midwest. He showed up everywhere. He came to he came to some parties that we had, like dope parties, but like parties where there were like, I think we had everybody from Dame Dash to to Anthony Hamilton. Like he came to some of the after parties, whether it was a black event, a Hispanic event, progressive event, LGBTQ event, whatever. He would go to all of those things. I'm concerned about America. It's some of the same reason of every woman on this list. I'm concerned that we as America have to overcome some of our biases. I'm concerned that him as an openly gay man, I think he would be one of the most dynamic leaders and efficient leaders of government I think we have if he chooses to run. I don't know why they call it running in place, because I think he is doing what he needs to do by getting out on social, and he has a much higher name recognition. But I do think he could be a sneaky candidate. I just am concerned that America. I want to make sure, and I want to believe in our country, but I don't know if we're ready for that, because we could have had everything that's going on outside if y'all were ready for a woman president. I think there's a lot of things that made it clear. There was such a clear distinction between the two candidates, and to see that it's not that you could agree to you could disagree with Kamala Harris's campaign and not vote for her, but all the narrative and the talk and the misogyny, the racism, all those different things that weighed in were really what showed me that's like, I don't know if we're going to be ready for that. So hopefully maybe over the next 2 years, if Mayor Buttigieg and Secretary Buttigieg continues to make his case, he can be there. This is the sleeper pick, y'all. This is the sleeper pick. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I think she has real momentum. She's got real momentum in terms of really in the streets. She's regularly able to draw thousands, some times 10,000 people in a crowd. I've gone to one of her rallies out west with her and Bernie Sanders. She's raises real money. She has real millions of followers on social. She has high name recognition. Even if people can't pronounce her name exactly right, that she's got a nickname that's cool, AOC. And I think her opportunity to really take it to the next level is there. I'm curious. I'm really curious if that she's going to whether run for president or she's going to primary Chuck Schumer in 28, and run for as a Senate for a Senate. I'm curious if she's going to primary Chuck Schumer. I don't know if that's going to happen. She just recently introduced New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani at inauguration on New Year's Day. So I'm really curious if she's going to run. I don't know why they did this to my boy, but I love Rep. Ro Khanna. Ro Khanna is a dope progressive out of California near Silicon Valley. A real heartfelt American story. He's currently also on tour, building up his coalition, building up his fundraising base. He's worked across the aisle to do a few things, but I don't think he's actually gonna announce that he's running. But he might be interesting. He might be an interesting candidate to run as vice president. Now this guy, Governor Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania. Josh Shapiro is a dynamic leader, dynamic speaker, father, working man. He's governor of probably one of the most consequential states when it comes to the electoral college map, and a popular governor. Just won re-election. He was one of the leading candidates to be Kamala Harris's running mate before she went with Governor Tim Walz, former attorney general, so he does have that attack dog mindset. and he's able to kind of talk through that. I would say Josh Shapiro, more specifically, I would say Governor Shapiro is someone that I think when I think about this as when I think about this as kind of a free for all, I think he can come in from the lead if he breaks through nationally. He needs a moment because he speaks. You can tell he's been on the Breakfast Club. He's been on a few of these platforms. He's got a little hard scrabble feel because Pennsylvania is both Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and everything in between. But I am of the belief that Josh Shapiro, if he wants to break through, because mind you, these are all what you see on the screen are pictures of not just Democrats but Republicans, all these people who have even been slightly considered for something. If he's gonna break through, he really needs to shake up the race. Like if he's gonna break through and jump into, I think he's already in probably the top 8 can be considered, but if he's gonna break through, I think he really needs to shake up the race. Who else do I want to talk about? I want to talk about. There's a few others that are making some waves, that are doing good stuff. Let's talk about another person. Let's talk about another person. Because yes, because Josh Shapiro, him also making the argument of being Pennsylvania is there, but he's got to run for re-election. He's running for re-election now, so he has to win governor in 26 to do that. This is another person I want to talk right down here. If you see down here, I don't know if you guys can see this on my screen, but down bottom left, I'm going to talk about 2 more key people, 2 governors, because I'm of the belief that the next Democratic president will not come from Washington. So if you see a senator, if you see a congressman, former vice president, I think some of them will run, but I think it's going to be a state-led person or an independent leader. Somebody who has no record, like a Mark Cuban or something like that, and we'll talk about him in a later video like the wild cards. But I think, let's talk about J.B. Pritzker. J.B. Pritzker, and let me bring this up. Let me think about Pritzker running for president, because this is a lot of people are. I'm curious to why people are not more on the J.B. Pritzker bandwagon and don't realize how big of a just how big of a thing he is and how big of an opportunity he has. But Governor Pritzker is the governor of Illinois. If you didn't know, he's a billionaire. The Pritzker family billions. They've made. I don't misquote me. Let's look that up. Gemini. How much money? What? Let me see. Let me get this. What is the net or? Sorry, I misspelled that. What is the net? Let me put this down, guys. Sorry. Oh, Governor J.B. Pritzker. $3.9 billion. Ooh. So, he's got real money. He's from the Hyatt Hotel family. And his grandfather co-founded the Hyatt Hotel. So, he's got real money. But he's also got real power, and he's really been really be try to become more and more of a champion of the people. He's at the No King protests in Chicago. Spoke out there. He is obviously not scared of Trump. He's like, dude, I got my own money. I run a state. I have a state with one of the largest cities in the country. Um, I think there's something about us having proved with Trump about the billionaire, the everyman billionaire. Maybe we need a billionaire versus a billionaire. I think that is what a lot of people consider could be the argument there. I'm not so sure yet. I think he needs to continue to distinguish himself, but he's really been clips have really start floating around of him finding his voice and doing so many like making so many powerful assertions. So I am I think he's one to watch. And then let's talk about my personal favorite. Uh, he's a brother that is close to home, and I want to. Um, Westmore, Westmore. Let's bring him up. Um, he says he's not running, and he's currently running for. If you look at every picture, he's in them right there, right between Gavin Newsom and AOC. If you see this one when you're talking about the people put him there, he's right up there at the top. Uh, right up there at the top. People think Westmore is running because he's such a good dude, and he's a governor, and he stands up against Trump, and he's black, and he's a military vet, and he and his wife are the power couple of power couples. Like they, and by power couples, I mean like couples for the people. They really, really are authentic people. I've got to meet him at fundraisers. I got to see him at events. He's really doing his best to try to fact-based, bring resources back to the state of Maryland. He's really opened up diversity and taken that head on, even in this anti-DEI environment. Diversity amongst not just race but gender, focusing on helping women-owned business, minority-owned businesses really succeed. He has been working well with his various mayors, including the mayor of Baltimore, to really bring down violent crime, really invest back in community. Um, he's a fighter, literally. I mean, I believe he's like a ranger, so a big dude. Really has served in our nation's wars. He's also was part of the Robin Hood Foundation, so he's given billions and overseen billions back to help people. I think Wes Moore is one of the most dynamic people that people don't know about, even if they know about him. And I can't wait for him to show more of his personality, more what he means and what his vision is for the country and the world there. So I think he has a chance, but just like Shapiro, he's got to win re-election as mayor in Maryland this year. And I think all his focus is in there. And then because he's winning re-election, he is going to be heavily on the campaign trail. But because he's running for re-election, for him to turn that writer back around and then run for something else, I think would be interesting. So I'm gonna stop there. Thank you guys. I'm gonna do more live streams like this, just kind of talking and bringing in my thoughts and ideas. Maybe even inviting a few more guests. We have got more stuff coming out. Make sure you support Hip Politics by smashing like and subscribe. You can support us and follow us on social media or follow me, Mr. Cameron Calvin. And with that, we're out. Peace.